My speech journey began on September 10th, 2010. That is when I came from a small city in Siberia by the name of Krasnoyarsk. Um, and I came to New York with my mom and my sister to live here. Unlike my sister, who is 4 years younger, um, the transition for her was very easy. Neither of us spoke the language, but she learned it very fast. She made friends right away, and she was very happy. Um, for me, it was another story. It was very hard for me learning the language. Everything was different, and I just didn't feel like I fit in. And I remember for the first few months, I really wanted to go home, and I asked my mom, I want to go back. Can you take me back? And I felt alone, and I felt depressed at that time. And I slowly started to learn the language. I went to school, I did practices, and day by day, week by week, month by month, I started to learn the language, and I was able to communicate to some extent. But even when I knew enough to convey my message, and mind you, I didn't have a stutter at that time, I still didn't speak because I didn't want to sound incorrect. So even though I could talk, I could convey my feelings and my ideas, I really didn't want to sound grammarly wrong. It's also important to know that when I was in Russia, I had a lot of friends. I was very outgoing. I really enjoy public speaking. Pretty much whenever I had to do like plays, or when I had to talk in front of the class or read aloud, I really enjoyed that. And the interesting thing was, one of my two best friends, I had two best friends in Russia. One of them was my classmate, and he actually had a stutter, and his was mainly on repeats, if I remember correctly. And I spoke to him. We kept in touch, and I spoke to him. Last time I spoke to him was like 4 years ago, and we spoke for hours. And from what I could remember, he sounded very fluent. So he greatly improved his speech. He probably cured it. I'm not sure. We haven't spoken since, but I'm really happy for him. Not only that, I'm not making this up, I swear. In my class, we had 3 people that stuttered. So it was a class of 27 people, if I remember correctly, and we had 3 people that stuttered. The ironic thing is that I wasn't one of them. I swear I'm not making this up. So 15% of the class had a stutter. So 3 stutterers, 1 in training. So very, very, very ironic. And my best friend, one of my 2 best friends, the way he developed his stutter was in 4th grade. He got into a car accident, and I remember him telling he flew, from the back window, out of the back window. Another one was was my neighbor. We walked back from school a lot of the times, and he also had a traumatic experience. I think a dog attacked him when he was in 2nd grade, so he developed it like that. And the third one, I'm not sure exactly, but I think it was also some sort of crazy incident. And obviously, the way I developed my stutter was in a very different way. And I remember my last day in Russia. It was September 9th, and my best friend wasn't in class, and he was at some stuttering clinic. And then he called me on the phone, and then he told me, I'm gonna miss you, blah blah blah. So it was really nice to talk to him. So I think it's like very ironic how stuttering has been in my life before I even became a stutterer. So I think it's very fascinating. Anyway, so in 7th grade, I really started to plan my words. And I think that's when stuttering really started to develop. And I just stay quiet a lot of the times. I don't think I realized what was happening, but it slowly kind of creeped into my life. But I do remember one of the first times that I noticed that something was wrong was in 8th grade. It was right before our first class. I was having breakfast, and then I don't remember exactly. And I was sitting with a few people, and at that time I could speak the language, not perfect, but I could convey my feelings or whatnot. And I remember I wanted to say something, and I just couldn't. I knew in my mind I planned what I was going to say, and I just knew I would block on it. And it was such a strange experience. But that was one of the first times that when I realized it. And kind of week after week, I realized that I have this issue. And for me, I mean, I just stayed quiet most of the time. For me personally, I might not have had a lot of bad incidents, maybe, a few dozen, if that, throughout my life, maybe 10, 15. But the amount of times that I stay quiet, it's got to be in the thousands. So I was very covert. Some people knew that I had a stutter. Most people didn't. But that's kind of how it came into my life. Ninth grade was, it became even worse. For me, unlike a lot of people, public speaking was never too hard, or not job interviews at that time, but job interviews were also never too hard. Phones weren't, my name wasn't hard. What was hard for me was social gatherings, especially lunch. And I remember in ninth grade, like one of the first times that I really appeared speech disabled was when somebody was sitting in my seat, and then I was gonna ask the person, that's my seat, like they might have sit here, and then I just couldn't get it out, and the guy kind of laughed at me. So that was like one of the first times that I really remember that, this is a huge problem. Another time, so I didn't really mind if people knew that I had a stutter, and I remember I was sitting in lunch, and one of the guys brought it up, and I was pretty okay talking about it, but I never brought it up myself. If somebody else brought it up, which was very rare, maybe 1 or 2 times, I really didn't mind talking about it. 10th grade, that was one of the worst bad incidents I remember. It was third or fourth period, and I wasn't in class for the first period. I had geometry, and I had a valid excuse. I don't remember what it was. Maybe not valid, but I didn't skip the class. I might have overslept or something. And then I was walking in third or fourth, I think it was fourth period. I was walking to another class, and my teacher just comes out of the room and stops me. And like, he caught me off guard. Like, I turn around, he calls my name, I turn around, and then he's like, "Why weren't you in class?" And I froze, like nothing could come out. At that time, I was mute. And it was probably for like 5 seconds, but it felt way longer than that. So I kept getting, so from a covert stutterer, I started having more and more, I started appearing more and more speech disabled, even though I was still mostly covert, but it, the shift kind of started happening and it started becoming worse. Also in 10th grade, I told my mom, like we were sitting in the car one day, and I never told anybody this until the time that I had a stutter. And I remember telling her, "Mom, I have a stutter." And she was like, "What are you talking about? No, you don't." So I was like, "Yes, I do." She was like, "No, you don't. What are you talking about?" So that was kind of the whole conversation, and we never really talked about it again. I still don't think she knows it, even though I read your book a lot, and it's like laying around in the house, and then she saw it, but she never like brought it up. So I don't think she ever understood it. 11th grade, I started work, and I know, unlike a lot of people, work was actually, my speech was really good at work, because I worked at a retail store at Woodbury Commons, which is like a huge shopping center here in New York. So if you guys are from New York, you might know it. I worked at Polo Ralph Lauren, and I was 16, and actually that was my first job, and it was nice to earn a little bit of money. So my speech was actually really good in 11th grade. I also made some new friends in 11th grade. So my speech, the problem never went away. It just subsided. So I was a lot more expressive. I was happier, but there were still moments where I had trouble speaking. 12th grade, it became worse. I stopped working at that job. And then the group of friends that I had in 11th grade, we kind of, separated or whatnot. So my speech got worse. So it was like, I was kind of stuck in a cycle for years and years and years where it was good. And I was hoping it would just keep rising and then drop. And then again and again. So, and then college. So I remember I was driving to college for the first time with my dad, and my dad didn't know that I had a stutter. So, and then for some reason, I never really had too much trouble with him, but for some reason, I really wanted to stutter. And I think I really want him to know that I have this issue. Because if I told him without me stuttering, I don't know. I mean, I think he would have believed me, but it would be hard to convince. But for some reason, I remember just pushing the words out really hard, making grimaces or whatever. And then I told him about it. And unlike my mom, he was very understanding. And he was like, I didn't know you had this issue. And we kind of talked about it. And I think the reason why he understood it, he had, he never wrestled with stuttering, but he had like extreme panic attacks in his 30s, and he was actually going to become a pilot. And obviously, you can't really do that if you're a pilot. So, and not a lot of people understood like extreme panic attacks. He told me like one story where he was driving a car, he stopped the car and started running because he thought somebody was chasing him. Or so he had, and then he's much better now. But he understood what I was talking about. So for the first time in my life, it was nice to kind of talk about it openly, and that was really helpful. And then in college, as always, the first few weeks were fine. I was very excited. I'm like, I'm not gonna stutter. Let's get this going. And then I was like, let's go. It was great. And then slowly but surely just dropped down. And I was in that same Groundhog Day, all day, every day. And then I transferred to another school. And this is for the first time. I never had troubles with presentations. For the first time, the only presentation that I really appeared speech disabled was in my business. I can't remember the class, like business something class. It was like a group project we had to do. And the reason why that is, and obviously, if I would have read Lee's book, I would never have made this. I would never have made this decision. I told my teacher for some reason before the class that I had a stutter. So obviously, I felt like I had to stutter, because if I didn't, I feel like I'd be lying. It's like, so it's a very subconscious thing. And I remember we had to introduce ourselves. I don't remember. I never really had a problem with my name. I'm not sure if I started on my name or not. I think it might have been my major. And I did get it out eventually. My major was accounting or finance at that time. And it was like 3 seconds too long. It was so clear and obvious. And I was like, oh God, why did I tell him? I knew right away. Thankfully, I think it was college. It was my freshman year of college, my second semester. No one laughed. So I think if people would have laughed, it would have been 10 times worse. No one even made like, these faces, like, what are you talking about? Like these faces, like when people are not sure what's going on. So they were all just staring at me. And like, they seemed really cool about it. So that I was really thankful for that class. And, I kind of just, I kind of dwelled on it for a few days, but like the thing with me, I don't really dwell on bad things too much. And the thing that really helped me. So kind of like, I went back, I called my dad. I'm like, oh, I just stuttered like so bad. He was like, don't worry about it. So I kind of, I rarely think about this incident. Maybe like, I don't know, once a week, once in 2 weeks, maybe, if that. But yeah, I kind of, it's still in my mind, but I don't really think about it. So that summer, for the first time, I went to a speech therapist. Believe it or not, the speech therapist actually helped me, at least for a while. Even though I could, he never had an issue. He was kind of like shooting in the dark, like he had a blindfold on, and there was like a dart, whatever it's called, board, and he was like shooting in the dark, and he actually got it right. So he shot in the dark and he got it right. It wasn't exactly in a circle, but it was like somewhere around it. So what he told me was basically read aloud, which I know is one of the methods that Lee preaches, and I agree with them. But not only that, he told me to like, there's a tool called the metronome, which is basically you can modulate it, like it's like beeps, it's like beep, 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 or like beep, beep. He was like, make the metronome very slow, go on Google, type it in, and read like that. Even though, and then, so for instance, I would be like, my name is Konstantin. So even though I didn't speak like that, I read like that. And I think it's like, if you think about it, it's like a little bit of full stops, a little bit of pronunciation, a little bit of gesture. So I never actually spoke like that, but I incorporated a little bit of that into my speech when I actually converse with people. So that actually helped me. And my second semester at SUNY Oswego was very, again, started off really well. It kind of dribbled down, but it wasn't as bad as it was at the school that I transferred from. So yeah, so it was a little bit better, but once again, I kind of like, I felt like it wasn't really helping me. And I think at that time, I just didn't really want to stop stuttering. And honestly, even if I read Lee's book, I don't think it would have helped me really, because I really didn't want to stop stuttering at that time. I wasn't ready for it. And then I transferred to another school. It was actually because I think it's actually the same school that one of Lee's students went to, that he mentions a lot, Johnson, right? So we actually went to the same school. So that was pretty cool. I never actually met him, because I think by the time I got there, he wasn't there, and like us meeting, like that would be very improbable. But I thought it was very interesting. And again, it got way worse. I don't know. I don't know. I felt like I missed my old school. And then again, kind of the cycle repeated itself. And in that summer, my dad actually sent me a link on Amazon, and he was like, "Oh, check this out." And it was actually the second edition of Lee's book. And I was like, yeah, I'll check it out. And I read it, and I really enjoyed it. Just reading the book alone helped me 10 to 15 times, but I wasn't taking it seriously. I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. I don't think I understood a lot of the information in the book. But I read it, I liked it, I read it again. And then in 2019, I asked to Skype with Lee. And by that time, my speech has gotten better, 20 to 25%, but still a huge issue. And then I started Skyping with Lee, and like it was awesome. But I think there's nothing he could have done. I wasn't like really trying to listen to him. I just kind of wanted, as Lee mentions, I kind of just wanted to try and like fail and like say I tried. So he really tried to help me, and I really wish that I would have taken it more seriously. But nonetheless, even though I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do, mainly, even though I did auto suggestions and I did read aloud, I did those things, but I didn't do them correctly. But the main thing is that I wasn't practicing the crutches. I really think by far, at least for me, the crutches are the most important part of this book. But yeah, we kind of talked, my speech improved, and he was kind of pushing me to publish a success story. And I didn't really feel like I was ready yet, because I was still quiet a lot of the times. And by that time, I stopped appearing speech disabled, and I understood why he wanted me to do it. And I think it was the right decision, but I really kind of hesitated. But eventually I did. And then in the fall of 2019, we were still speaking. And so that was the time I was a senior in college, and I really, and I was about to graduate. I needed an internship. And at that time, I really gotta get a handle of this if I want to get a job. And then during that career week, or before, like those few weeks, I did it every single day. I did everything what I was supposed to do. And then I was very successful. I got, a few offers. But once I kind of got the job, I kind of relaxed, and I kind of stopped doing everything. My speech, not right away, but slowly, kind of kept getting worse and worse and worse. But it was still much better than it was before I met Lee. And then we kind of, we've spoken a dozen times or so, I think, or a lot. And I think, I think Lee might have went his like a Christmas break, if I remember correctly. And then we kind of never kind of reconnected after that. I sent him an email, once or twice, maybe like a year after and a year after that, my speech is good. It wasn't as good as it is right now. But it was still much better than it was before. And then this year, I still remember this day, on May 5th. So my speech has gotten worse again. I didn't appear speech disabled, but I wasn't as expressive as I wanted to be. And I remember I was sitting in a restaurant, and I had a really hard time talking. So restaurants, any kind of social group gatherings, it was actually people from work. So there was like four of us, and I just had trouble speaking. And for me, like, it's not so much, a lot of the times I don't feel the pressure, but I just stutter. Not really right now, but in the past, like I feel totally fine, but the words wouldn't come out. And that was one of those times I felt comfortable, but it's just the words wouldn't come out. And it was very difficult. And at that time, I kind of knew that this is the time, and I was so sure. And I remember I was on the train home, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take this so seriously, and then I'm gonna make sure I'm not gonna leave this program until I reach Coach Lee's level. And I was really, really serious about it. And then I got back in the program, and it's been really, really great. My speech improved like within days, within weeks. Like, it's crazy how fast it improved, because I didn't start from ground zero. I started from, because I had some, because I knew the book, I knew the basics. So I just had to kind of actually apply it. And for the first time in my life, I was ready to let go of stuttering and actually apply these methods. And I was really excited about it. And then I started reading aloud. I started doing mind training every single day, twice a day, practicing the crutches. I was doing everything for a few weeks. And then I messaged Lee, and I'm like, can we speak? And we spoke, and it was really awesome. And then I started attending SAM meetings, and then I started attending crutch practice sessions. And then my speech kind of kept getting better and better. And I noticed like how people treat you differently, like when I was fluent. So that was very interesting. And like, really, I feel a lot happier now. And it's been a really awesome experience. And I want to thank, this whole community, the people. Asan has been a huge help. We've talked one-on-one. He's absolutely amazing. And actually, that same video that he did about his routine, where he would wake up at 2:30 a.m. and then he would go to the crutch practice session and then go to sleep and then wake up at 6 a.m. That really, really motivated me. And all the people that regularly come to crutch practice groups, like, you guys have really helped me. I want to thank the crutch practice group hosts. You guys are all amazing. And I go there every week, pretty much, and I really, really enjoy it. It helps my speech. I really enjoy talking to him, to all the people that come. And also, I want to thank Ken and Gil. I know that they never had this issue, but the passion that they have for this is incredible. I don't know where it comes from. I know where Lee's passion comes from, because he had this issue. He knows what it's like. So and I know you guys have set up the website, and let me just tell you, this is the best website ever. I've spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours. So I've seen like a lot of SAM meetings. So I've seen like right now I'm going to for the third time. So I've seen them again. I watched them again, and now I'm going for the third time. So, and I've seen a lot of coaching videos, so spent a lot of time on it, and they've been really, really helpful. And of course, the one and only, I want to thank Lee, Coach Lee G. Lovett, the passion that you have, the book that you're not only, if you would have just written the book, that would have been more than enough. That would have been like, this guy's incredible. But the passion that you have, what you're doing, you're willing to do whatever it takes. I know, like, you're even willing to go on TikTok, for this. So that just shows you'll do anything. So it's just the passion that you have, the community that you've created. I cannot thank you enough. And I feel like, this is just the start of a journey for me. I feel like I'm nowhere near finished. I feel like I'm just getting started. But I feel like, there's a saying or something like that. Like if you want to get rich, if you want to become a billionaire, the hardest part is making your first million. So I feel like I made my first million by becoming a PWSS and being a part of this community, but I'm nowhere near finished, and I'll keep going until I'm fluent 99.9% of the time. And I think it's gonna take some time, but I'm really looking forward to that journey. And yeah, and also another thing that I want to mention, I think that's something that really stuck with me, but something that he mentioned in one of his SAM meetings, in his speeches about a year ago. He said that, stuttering had a purpose. And now, to make us tougher, to make us, because, you learn from your tough experiences, to make us smarter, more perceptive of things. But now that purpose has been served, and that it's time to let go. And that really stuck with me. And I really just love the way he described that. And that's how I really think of stuttering. I really, I don't think it was random that it just kind of creeped into my life. There's been too many coincidences and like events that kind of, like stuttering was in my life before I even knew it was in my life. So I really think there was a purpose to it. And I really feel like it finally has served its purpose. And now it's finally time to let go. And for the first time in my life, I really feel like I am ready to let go. And it's been an incredible experience. And yeah, and I really enjoyed it. And I can't wait to see where my life and my speech is gonna take me in the next few years. So thank you again. Thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate you guys.